Hello and welcome to Let's Play Stardew Valley, episode 35. Here on the morning of Year 1, Fall the 13th. Just grabbed a complete melon wine from the keg next to my dining room table. And that keg was only put there temporarily. I'm going to relocate it to the barn. Check the TV, nothing on TV. Might as well grab a hops to put in the keg. Head on outside. Both of my crab pots have caught trash. It's not ideal, but I'll load them back up with bait. It looks like 2 broccoli plants over here have finished. The flowering head of a broccoli plant. The tiny buds give it a unique texture. That's what a broccoli is. Broccoli didn't used to be in the game. The wild forage crops that you can get in all 4 seasons. In the spring, it's the carrots. In the summer, it's the summer squash. And in the fall, it's the broccoli. Those did not used to be in the game. And I don't know what the one is going to be for winter. Looking up here, I see my ancient fruit has finally started to produce some fruit. So I'm going to pick it. Look at it in the tooltip. It says, ancient fruit. It's been dormant for eons. So what I'm going to do with the ancient fruit is I'm going to turn any ancient fruit that I get into seeds. For that, I'm going to need a seed maker. 25 wood, 10 coal, and 1 gold bar. I don't have enough coal for that. Alright, it's gonna have to wait until I get enough coal. It's just gonna have to wait. I also picked a bunch of cranberries. Why did I save the gold star amaranth? I don't know why I did that. Yeah, so the next time I go to the mines, I'm gonna have to focus on getting coal for my seed maker. Alright, let's continue and see what else is on the farm here. I'll have to buy 7 seeds to replace the 7 wheats that I just harvested. Give Fartomo a pet. Down here it looks like my fairy rose has finished growing. I'm actually going to keep one of the fairy rows still standing. And the reason for this is going to be made a little clearer after I build one of my farm structures. So stay tuned. Why did I leave the one flower standing? Alright, so down here on Oak Island, it looks like one of the oaks is giving me an oak resin, but the other 4 are not. Like before, I'm going to wait until all 5 of these oak trees are producing, or have an oak resin ready for me. just my personal preference for how to harvest those. And I just picked a bunch of fall forage that I planted. Alright, look at this. We have some mature trees over here on the Western Isle. A pine tree and an oak tree. Chop them down and replant, like always. Sustainable forestry. Alright. Down here on the southwestern isle with the mahogany trees. These two small mahogany trees have still not grown up, but they are close. And if I feel like I could probably add another ring of crops here. I think I will do that if I remember to. Walking over to Animal Isle. Pet Tendy the chicken. LaBeef the cow. Crunchy the chicken, and I'm not sure where Crispy the chicken is. There's Crispy. Grab my milk pail and give LaBeef a tug. And I got a small milk. Ooh, look at this. A bunch of my preserve jars in the barn have finished up. And we have some interesting items here. On the bottom we have blackberry jelly, which sounds absolutely delicious. I would love to eat that in real life. Up on the top we have wild plum jelly. And then I remember putting hazelnuts in here. Pickled hazelnut. And pickled common mushroom. Pretty interesting. I'm gonna throw the... What do I want to put in here? I guess I'll put another hazelnut in. Another blackberry in. Alright, and I have to put, oh shoot. I forgot to bring that hops over here. I'll just put plum in the keg, make some plum wine. And over on Tree Isle, we have 5 trees that are ready for harvest. So all these jellies and pickles I'm going to keep and give to people as gifts. Store the sap and the wood and the pine cone. I'm going to sell the amaranth and the small milk. And I need to get over to the store. So there were the 7 wheats that I harvested. I think I'll plant 7 wheat seeds in their place. And then I have room for another group of 7 in the southwestern isle. Lewis says, everyone seems a little happier on the weekends, don't you think? Let's try giving Lewis some pickles. Yo, Lewis, you like pickles? He does. Still haven't found anything that Lewis loves. I haven't given him any jelly yet. Let's try giving Pierre a pickle. Yo, Pierre. He says, that's very kind of you. I like this. Alright. Go ahead and buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wheat. And then I'll do some fairy. I need to plant 7 fairies to replace the 7 that I picked. And I think I'll do amaranth, just pick something random. Let's see how well Granny likes flowers. She says, "Are you friends with Alex?" Here, Granny, would you like a fairy rose? She loves them? She says, "This is absolutely marvelous." So she loves tulips and fairy rose. Granny likes flowers, or loves them. Let's try Jody. Yo, Jody, you want a fairy rose? She likes it. Didn't love it, though. And we'll try a jelly on Carolyn. So Carolyn loves Summer Spangle. She likes jelly. There's Willie the Fishman. He says, "Here's a secret. Elliot loves squid ink. It would make a great gift." Okay. Elliot, the author guy, loves squid ink. I don't even know how to make squid ink. You take a squid and process it somehow, I guess. Anyway, let's try giving old Willie something special. Smoked mushrooms. Let's see if he likes those. He says, "That looks great. Thank you." I actually know from previous playthroughs one of the things that Willie loves. When I get some of it, I will have to mention it. Nothing good on the beach for forage. So we'll just head on back to the farm. There's Leah. She says, "Decorations accentuate the feelings of the season. I think it's a worthwhile tradition." Okay, well, I'm glad you think it's a worthwhile tradition. Let's see if you like jelly. She says, "This is a really nice gift, thank you." From previous playthroughs, I also know something that Leah loves, but we're not ready to make it yet. Alright, I need to do some planting. Okay, next to the scarecrow, I'm just going to chop out 7 squares. There's a mahogany tree growing like right, growing right where the 8th one would be. That's okay, I'll just plant 7. And these are amaranth. Head on up here to the crop patch where the fairy rose were. I'm going to plant 7 more fairy rose. And then I'm going to plant 7 more wheat. Alright, so the thing that I wanted to make was a bee house. What do I need for that? 40 wood, 8 coal, 1 iron bar, 1 maple syrup. That's easy enough. I don't feel like going to the mines right this minute, so I'm just going to make 2 pieces of coal from 20 pieces of wood. I don't like to use the charcoal maker because wood is a precious resource in this game, just like coal is, so I don't really see the benefit in sacrificing your wood for coal unless you just have a ridiculous overabundance of wood, which I have never had in any of my games. Leave that one tree standing, just do it tomorrow. Grab the charcoal, put more wood in, store the maple seed, the wood, and the sap. Alright, so now I have enough coal. I need 40 wood for a bee house, an iron bar, which I don't have, and I'll need to make using one of my coals. Also need a maple syrup. Alright, and now I'm just waiting on that iron bar. I guess I'll just fish until it comes out. Caught a smallmouth bass. Didn't push the button in time. Well, I caught 2 smallmouth basses. Still waiting for that iron to finish. Alright. I got my iron. Now I can make my bee house. I'm going to plop the bee house down next to the flowers here. So the way bee houses work is the bee house will work if there are no flowers around. If there are no flowers next to the bee house, it will just make generic honey. However, if there is a mature flower next to the bee house, it will produce a special honey based on the flower. I believe it chooses the most valuable flower in range. And since Fairy Rose is the most valuable of the flowers that you can grow, Fairy Rose honey is the most valuable honey. So the flower varieties of honey are like worth more than the generic honey, and of those, Fairy Rose is the most valuable. So that's why I kept this one Fairy Rose standing. I'm just going to leave it there until the end of fall, and any honey that gets spawned in this bee house is going to be Fairy Rose honey. Off to bed. Got a fair amount of money. $750 from the melon wine. 500, $369 from the cranberries. That Gold Star Amaranth brought $247. It's pretty good. Wake up in the morning of fall the 14th. Flip on the TV. Oh, it's a new Queen of Sauce. Greetings, it is I, the Queen of Sauce, here to teach you a new mouth-watering recipe from my secret cookbook. This week's dish is trout soup. There's something about fresh-caught trout that just gets me buzzing. Maybe it's the subtle taste of the river. At any rate, I've got a wonderful trout soup recipe to share with you today. You learned how to cook trout soup. And let's see how to cook trout soup. There it is. Jeez. The ingredients are 1 rainbow trout, 1 green algae. The description is pretty salty. Well, I mean, any good soup is supposed to be salty. Just saying. So I walk outside and I'm greeted by a beautiful, just jaw-dropping harvest of pumpkins. 64 pumpkins ready to be picked. And I also didn't catch anything in my 2 crock pots. Alright, start picking some pumpkins. Looks like the XP from picking the pumpkins caused me to level up farming. And I think farming goes to level 10 next, right? Yeah. Farming is now at level 10, and it will show me what level 10 means when I go to sleep. Alright, so I got 22 gold star, 33 silver star, and 9 normal pumpkins. The pumpkin tooltip says, a fall favorite, grown for its crunchy seeds and delicately flavored flesh. As a bonus, the hollow shell can be carved into a festive decoration. I'm going to sell the 22 gold star and some of the silver star, and I'm going to keep the others for making in the preserve jar. Actually, don't want to... Oh no. I meant to keep one of the gold star ones for the Grange display. Well, I'll just use a silver star one instead. It's pretty difficult to win the Grange display in the first year, so I'm not super concerned. Okay. I'm going to want to buy 64 more pumpkin seeds and plant them today as well, so that they get finished in time for the end of fall for a second pumpkin harvest. Pick some grapes, sell the gold and the silver star. Notice here that I have 5 corns ready for harvest, but 1 that's not. I'm going to wait until the 6th one is ready for harvest so that I can just pick all 6 at the same time. Aww. A little message just came up saying, Fartomo loves you. And that should mean that he is now at 5 stars. Very nice. Of course Fartomo loves me. How can he not? So I just picked some oak resin and maple syrup. Down here, the bee house has not produced any honey yet. I think it takes like 4 or 5 days for each bee house to make honey. Pick some mushrooms. I'm going to need 8 seeds for this blank spot on Oak Island. Over here on the western island, I have 3 more trees that have grown up, so I'm going to chop them down. Okay, what in the Minecraft is this? Down here on the southwest isle, one of the mahogany trees has turned into what looks like a giant mushroom. I don't know if this is a random thing that happens in fall or what, but I'm going to keep it the way it is. I'm not going to chop it down. And I would like to attach a tapper to it just to see what happens. So I did get a mahogany seed. I don't want to plant it over here because this space I'm going to use for fruit trees eventually. So I'm going to have to think a little bit more about where I want my mahogany seed to go. I might chop down one of the mahogany trees that's already fully grown and just plant a seed in its place. Go pet the animals. Inside of the barn, we have some pickled yam. Interesting. I don't know if that sounds tasty or not, necessarily. Wish I brought some pumpkin with me. Yeah, I'm gonna come back here. But I did get a bottle of melon wine. Sell the melon wine. And I'll sell the pickled yam. Now, I have enough of these light brown mushrooms, the chanterelles. I have enough of them to make a bag of chanterelles, so I think I will do that. I'm not 100% sure if it gives you custom dried mushrooms. I kind of figure that it would. Real quick, I'm going to grab 2 pumpkins and take them to the barn. I'm going to put 1 pumpkin in the preserve jar and 1 in the keg and see which one is more valuable. I think the keg is going to produce more valuable produce. In the chicken coop, I find a bunch of eggs because I haven't gone in here in a while. But I'm going to take some large eggs and put them in the mayo machine. And sell the rest. I think large egg is something for the community center bundle. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and keep that large egg. And then there's one plant over here that looks like it's ready for harvest. These are artichokes, interestingly. So the artichoke tooltip says, the bud of a thistle plant. The spiny outer leaves conceal a fleshy, filling interior. That is correct. Artichoke is delicious. Now, if you recall, I never got the opportunity to buy artichoke seeds. That's because artichokes are a year 2 fall crop. But if you plant mixed seeds, I believe you have a small chance to get even the year 2 crops. So that's why I was able to grow 2 artichokes. Going on pause, stand by. And I'm back. So I'm going to buy 64 pumpkin seeds. Which is a pretty big investment. 6,400 gold for that. But the profit to be gained in growing pumpkins is substantial. A pumpkin seed costs like 100 gold, but they sell for between 300 and 500 a piece. So you obviously make money by growing the pumpkins. And if you take the time to turn them into pickles or juice in the keg, then that profit is multiplied even more. So I'm just going to plant my 64 pumpkin seeds back on the farm. Okay. I really need to go to the community center. It's been a little while since I've been there. Need to freshen up on what stuff I need to add to the bundles. Oh, there's Haley, lover of sunflowers, and I have 7 gold sunflowers here to give her. She says, I've never been to the forest. It's muddy and I could get a blister on my foot. That's true. Why don't you have a sunflower to take your mind off that forest? Wow, they're beautiful. These are my absolute favorite. And as we know, Haley loves sunflowers. Gold star sunflowers even more so. Alright, so I'm heading up to the community center. I'm going to deposit this walleye fish that I've been carrying around for the past, like, 3 weeks. sure that walleye is the opposite of fresh. And we're going to go to the crafting room, construction bundle, winter foraging. So to finish the crafting room, I just need 10 hardwood and the winter forage items. Here we go. The animal bundle in the pantry. I need a large brown egg for that, which I just donated. I also need a large milk and a large white egg. And then this artisan stuff, I can't do the majority of this. Most of it is fruits. I don't think I've explained how fruit trees work yet in this playthrough. So allow me to do that as I walk to the mines. A fruit tree is a special tree. They take 28 days to fully grow. Once they are fully grown, they don't do anything useful except in certain seasons. But if you're in the season corresponding to the fruit tree, it will make a fruit once per day. So, as an example, the apple tree is a fall fruit tree. If I plant it, it takes 28 days to fully grow, but once it's fully grown, it will produce an apple every single day for all 28 days in fall. There are 2 fruit trees per season, so 6 fruit trees for spring, summer, and fall. The fruit tree saplings are very expensive, like $5,000 a piece. And like I mentioned before, they take a long time to grow. So the strategy that I typically use for fruit trees is I plant my first one in late fall of the first year. So late fall, I'm going to plant 1 sapling each of the 2 spring fruit trees, which are the apricot and the cherry. Since they take 28 days to grow, they will be fully grown by the end of winter, just in time for the beginning of spring. And during spring, they will produce fruit all 28 days. So I'll end up with 28 cherries and 28 apricots. Fruit trees are they also have a few oddities about them. They have to be planted in such a way that there's nothing next to them. So there's like a ring of 8 squares around the fruit tree where there can't be anything else, no other trees or structures or anything. So they need space to grow. And it's probably also for game balance reasons. So there's a limited amount of number of fruit trees that you can put on your farm. You can't just fill every tile with fruit tree. The other oddity about fruit trees is every year that they're alive, they start to make better quality fruit. So the first year of the fruit tree, it's only going to make normal fruit, but the second year it will make Silver Star, and the third year it will make Gold Star fruit. And it might make Purple Star fruit in the 4th year. I'm not sure about that though. So like I said, towards the end of fall, I'm going to plant a cherry and an apricot fruit tree. Interestingly, they will grow throughout the winter by themselves, but they won't make any fruit in the winter. So both of those trees will be fully grown by the end of winter. And then I'm going to follow a similar process for the fall and the summer fruit trees. At the end of winter, I'm going to plant the summer fruit trees, and at the end of spring, I'm going to plant the fall fruit trees. Fruit trees are good because obviously the fruit that comes out of them is quite valuable, and it also makes for good gifts. Most of the characters like the fruit that you give them. I'm just going to go down one more level and see if there are any dust sprites. No, sir. Not a single dust sprite to be seen. Back up the ladder. In the last 1 or 2 weeks of fall, I'm also going to build a silo, as I mentioned before. The purpose of the silo is, at the very end of fall, I will take my scythe and cut down all grass on the farm, and that grass actually gets stored in the silo as hay. And that hay will sustain my animals throughout the winter. Storing away all my stuff here. Is there anything else to do today? Nope, it's 1:50. I need to get inside. That's why I watch the clock. And I passed out. Fortunately, if you pass out inside your cabin, it's not the same as if you pass out outside where you get rescued by the doctor. Passing out inside your cabin has no ill effect, I think. Anyways, alright, so I've leveled up farming to level 10. This is the first skill that I've gotten to level 10. And similar to level 5, if you reach level 10, you get to choose a subspecialty. For farming, the two subspecialties are artisan and agriculturist. Artisan causes your artisan goods, such as wine, cheese, oil, etc., to be worth 40% more. Yes, you read that right. 40% more. So those melon wines that sell for $7.50 are now going to sell for well over $1,000. I think that's how math works. The other option is agriculturist, which causes your crops to grow 10% faster. Now, that is a bonus, but I don't think it's a great bonus. Having pumpkins grow in 12 days instead of 14 doesn't help me. Maybe with the faster turnaround time crops, it would make a difference, but it's only 10%. So I always pick artisan. Nice. So those pumpkins I sold got me 19,000. Well, there's some other stuff in here too. The 22 Gold Star pumpkins got me 11,600. The 13 Silver Star got me an additional 5,700. And then you have the melon wine, the pickled yam, etc., etc. So now my bank balance is soaring to new heights. I'm now at 30,000. And I'm going to wake up on the morning of Monday the 15th. It's been a while since I took a screen cap of the farm. So I'm just gonna go outside and do that now. Oh, there's a cutscene. Okay, I'm gonna skip this because in the next video, it will just play it again. I'm only out here for the cutscene. Or rather, I'm only out here for the screenshot. Words. That's gonna wrap it up. Peace. Stay tuned for the screenshot.